our first presenter, from 10 to 10:40, is Carrie Berridge. Her title of her talk is Empower and Embrace Your Authentic Self. To give you a little background on Carrie, she is a fitness coach, piano teacher, business owner, and author. She shares her journey with neurodiversities, Tourette's syndrome, ADHD, TOCD, and anxiety, offering hope to others facing similar challenges. Carrie's advocacy for neurodiversity makes her an inspiring role model, demonstrating resilience and empowerment through her story. Let's welcome her to the stage.
I don't think it's working. Oh, there we go. There we go.
All right, technologically impaired.
I don't think I've ever seen a big picture of my face that big before.
Yeah, this is minute, but we'll give it a try. All right.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome. How is everybody doing on this first day of Gatherama 2024? Woo! And I'm so grateful to be here standing on stage in front of all of you. And I'm really glad I have people in the audience, so thank you. I'm a first-time speaker, so I am a little bit nervous.
And because this isn't working all that great.
All good, Carrie.
Yeah, all right. I'd like to thank J.B. Owen for putting on such a magnificent event here. And again, thank you all
To being here,
listening to me today.
should I just stop? Do you use this?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We can hear you.
All right, I will talk loud. All right, and now I forgot where I was already. So give me a second. My name is Carrie Berridge, and I'm from Alberta, Canada, home to the Rocky Mountains. Mountains are where I go to feel grounded and peaceful. So if I just need a little break, I head down to the mountains 3 hours south of me, and I'm able to feel grounded and, like I said, peaceful, and I'm ready to take on the world again. Oh my God. I'm sorry, this threw me off.
You're good.
I'm just gonna turn this right off, because it's blinking at me. All right. So mountains to me are like life. You've got your big moments in life, just like climbing a mountain. So the big moments could be a graduation day, a wedding day, a birth of a child, Christmas, big celebrations like birthdays, just like climbing a mountain. And along the way, there are fun times, because let's say planning a wedding, it's tough. There's a lot of work to it, especially if you have a big wedding. Like JB had a 850 person wedding. It's a lot of work to get there. Just like hiking. You head down, you get out of your car, you get your backpack with everything in it, and you start up. And sometimes it's a grind. And every once in a while, you take a break. You take your pack off, you have a seat, you grab your water, your snacks, and you take it all in. The sounds, the smells, the sights, mountain air, you might hear birds chirping, or leaves rustling, or maybe the wind. And then you take in the sights. There might be a flower growing up out of the rocks, and it's just like you're in wonder of how that happens. And you might see some squirrels, or deer, or maybe even a moose, sometimes even a bear. And you just take that all in, just like a wedding. You've got fun events along the way. So you've got dress shopping or suit shopping, and you get your friends together, your bridal party, maybe a parent, and you go and you have lunch or dinner and you have some laughs. And then you start again. You keep going with the planning of the wedding, you pack all your stuff up on the mountain, and you continue hiking. And you might have another break. And then the wedding. You've got the shower, you've got the stagette. But ultimately where we're trying to go is to the top of the mountain and the day of the wedding. So you get to the wedding, or you get to, the top of the mountain. and the sky's blue, and you take it all in, the beauty and the awe. And you might be overlooking a body of water, or another mountain range, or a town. And the day of the wedding, everything goes off great. The caterers are great, the flowers are beautiful, everybody has a good time. But what if you get to the top of the mountain and it's cloud coverage, and it's raining, and it's windy? You can't stay up there. You have to come back down. You can't enjoy the sights because there aren't any. Same thing with the wedding day. The caterer's late, the flowers aren't right, somebody gets in a fight, and you feel like it's been ruined. But what we need to learn is to take in the journey, because if you think of a mountain, the peak is very little. That top is very little. It's the journey that's the long part. And if we don't embrace all those fun moments and of joy along the way, we've missed out on the journey of life. So I am about to have one of those big mountain moments standing here in front of all of you today at Gatherama. I'm going to take you back 8 months. Sorry, I've got, my ear is just, I'm echoing. 8 months ago, I was at a personal development course in Phoenix. And at the end of one of the days, I jumped up on stage and I grabbed the microphone and I had someone take a picture of me. And I printed out that picture and I put it on my vision board. And I looked at that picture every day for 8 months. And I visioned myself standing here on stage. And when this opportunity came up to speak here in Vegas, my first thought was, I'll go, I'll take it all in, and next year I'll come back and speak. And then I thought to myself, why would I do that? I wanted to be an inspirational speaker for over a decade. I've been looking at this picture, visualizing me standing on stage for 8 months every day. And I'm gonna wait a year? So I had to dig deep. Why would I wait? And what I came up with was I was afraid. I was afraid to come and do this. Now, who here has not done something due to fear? Everybody. So I'm going to take you back to when you were a child. You're playing at you go to a playground and there's a bunch of kids playing around here. And you want to go play with those kids, but you're afraid. You're afraid that they're going to say, no, we don't want to play with you. Adulthood. You go to a function or a party and you don't really know anyone. And you don't go over to that group of people and invite and introduce yourself because you're afraid they might turn their back on you. You don't ask that male or female out on a date because they might reject you. They might say no. You don't go to that fitness class because you're not fit enough. You don't go to yoga because you're not flexible enough. You don't apply for that job because you don't think you're qualified enough. All these not enoughs that we tell ourselves daily. Fear stems from limiting beliefs. A limiting belief is a state of mind or a belief about yourself that restricts you in some way. And oftentimes, it is false accusations that you make about yourself that create or that cause negative results. And I'm going to say that again. Oftentimes, it is false accusations that you make about yourself that causes negative results. Limiting beliefs, that negative self-talk, it can destroy a person. I know because it almost destroyed me. I'm going to take you back to where my limiting beliefs began in childhood, where most limiting beliefs begin. I grew up in a family of 3. My sister was older and my brother was younger, and I was in the middle. My sister was my mom's favorite, and my brother was my dad's. But I wasn't anyone's favorite. And so I went through childhood thinking, what's wrong with me? Why aren't I anyone's favorite? Along with that, growing up, I struggled in school. I didn't understand what I was trying to read or learn. It just wouldn't go in. My sister could speak 4 languages. My brother can do anything. And then there was me, the dumb one. Or so I thought. And to top it off, I hung out with the brilliant kids. These kids are now top surgeons in the States, chiropractors, lawyers, doctors. And then there was me, the dumb one. I would study 3 to 4 hours every night while they were out partying. Exam time would come, they'd pull off 98, 99, 100, and I would barely get a 60. Those are the kids I cheated off of to pass my English and social diplomas. So thank goodness they were my friends. So I went into adulthood constantly looking for validation because I didn't get it growing up. And when you constantly look for validation, I was inadvertently pushing people away. Because who wants to validate somebody all the time? I don't. And then I started realizing I was doing things like interrupting people all the time. I always had to be perfect. I had to be right. I didn't listen to anyone else's opinions. I was hard on myself and on others. I was just trying to prove my worth. But really, I was trying to prove my worth to myself. And so because of this, I went into adulthood very broken. I was in toxic relationship after toxic relationship. I had 2 failed marriages by 28. After my second marriage, I was in a 2-year very abusive relationship. I loved from afar. I kept people away. I didn't let anyone in. I wasn't close to my parents. I wasn't close to my siblings. In fact, after my first divorce, it was 6 months later, and my parents were coming to visit. I had to phone them and say, I don't live there anymore. I got divorced 6 months ago. I didn't even tell my parents I got divorced. I thought it was because what I was doing or saying didn't matter. But really, I was embarrassed by the path I was going on. I was embarrassed by my choices. In fact, I hated myself. I didn't love myself. I didn't accept me for me. I did not love myself. And then some things started to happen where I started to realize where my limiting beliefs began. At the age of 27, I found out I have Tourette syndrome. And I'd had it since I was 5. Tourette syndrome is an involuntary movement of your muscles, but it's far more than the tics. There's perfectionism in there. There's being hard on yourself. There's learning differences. And then last year, I found out I have ADHD. I wasn't upset, I was ecstatic because my life made sense. I wasn't the dumb one. I just learn differently. And I'm just touching the surface on learning about ADHD. So I'm excited. Now I'd like to take you back and explain where my hatred for myself began. Like I said, I moved out of my parents' home when I was 18. And I moved up 3 hours north. And I only knew one person and her mom. And I met a man, and I started dating him. And soon after I moved in, we moved in together. And this man liked to drink beer, play hockey, and cheat. After 30 infidelities on his part, I had a one-time affair with my high school sweetheart. And then I carried on, as if nothing happened. And then one day I was in the shower, and all of a sudden I felt sick. And right away I thought, oh my goodness, I think I'm pregnant. my second thought came even faster. Oh my goodness, whose is it? So I stayed with that cheater, and I gave birth to my daughter in December of that year. 6 months later, I was walking in my hometown. I was pushing my daughter in her stroller. I was out for a walk. And a car drove by, pulled over, and stopped. And a man got out. And he walked towards my daughter and myself. And he pointed at her and said, "Who's this?" And I said, "I think she might be yours." His response floored me. He said, "Are you just looking for money? Because I'm in a really good place right now and I don't want anyone to F it up." It was everything I could do not to cry. And I said, "No, I don't want your money. I just thought you should know." With that, the conversation ended and I walked back to my parents' home. And they could see I was visibly upset. So I came clean. It was one of the only things that I told my parents. And I said, "I don't know who the father of my daughter is. Is it the man I'm living with, Jeff? Or is it my high school sweetheart, Dawn?" My parents come from a generation of don't talk about it and it doesn't exist. Sweep it under the rug. I come from a long line of secrets, big secrets in my family. And so they said to me, "If you don't know who the father is, don't open up the can of worms." So I didn't. I never told a soul for 35 years. I kept that secret. Not one person knew. It was a tough 35 years. And then September 2022 hit. I'm going to back up for a second. I never told anyone. But I stayed with that cheater. I married him. And 4 months later, he got his final affair pregnant. And with that, I kicked him out and I carried on with life. Just my daughter and I. Things started to happen as she got older though. She has these beautiful big lips, just like my high school sweethearts. She has dark, brown, beautiful eyes. Jeff and I have blue. Dawn has brown. So I went to the doctors and I asked, can 2 blue-eyed parents have a brown-eyed child? All she had to do was say no, and I would have had my answer. But she didn't. She said, it's not common, but it can happen. So I had this voice on this side saying, see, don't worry about it. You're worrying for no reason. She's Jeff's. And then this other voice saying, you're a rotten person. You did a bad thing. You're a cheater. You're a liar. You're a horrible person. This voice never left me. This voice came and went, but this one never left. For 35 years, that voice was in my head every single day. Now, I tried to find him through social media, high school reunions, the white pages that tells you how old I am. I looked everywhere for him. I couldn't find him. And then September 2022 happened. And my daughter phoned me. I was at a meeting 30 minutes away. I was just leaving that meeting. She said, Mom, I need to talk. She said, I just did a genealogy kit through 23andMe. And I found out I have a 26% match with a female in my hometown. That female is my daughter's half-sister. That female's father is my high school sweetheart's. My daughter's father is my high school sweetheart's. As soon as she said 23andMe, my world came crashing down. My walls caved in. The bottom of my world fell out. I was sick to my stomach. I couldn't breathe. I couldn't see. Just like that, my life unraveled. It was everything I could do to make it home that night alive. I was sobbing so hard I couldn't see. And I explained everything to her. I told her everything that my mind could remember, but my mind has blocked some things out, as our minds do to protect us. I got home, I was sitting on the back entrance, still talking to her. And she said, "Mom, I need time to think." And I said, "Absolutely, take your time." I'm really close with one of my boys. I have twins. And so I called one of them. And I said, "I love you. I'm proud of you. And I'm so grateful you're my son." And I hung up. I phoned his wife. And I said, "I love you. I'm so proud of you for everything that you've gone through. And I'm grateful that you're my daughter-in-law." And I hung up. I stood up. I locked that back door deadbolt. I went to the front door. I deadbolted that door too. I walked up my stairs to my bedroom. And I pushed a set of dresser drawers in front of my door, my bedroom door. I crawled in bed, opened up the nightstand, and took that bottle of pills out. And I poured them in my hand, and I swallowed. I just couldn't take it anymore. I had lived such a life for 35 years with blame and shame and guilt encompassing me that I just didn't think I had anything left to live for. Because the one reason I never said anything for 35 years is because I thought I was going to lose my daughter. And I did. And thanks to the good Lord above, it didn't work, and I'm still here today. 4 days later, I had already signed up for a personal development course. And 4 days later, it started. It was everything I could do to get in that car and drive the 3 hours south to sit in that seat of the personal development course. That is the last day that I talked to my daughter. She wants nothing to do with me. I have texted, I have called, I have emailed, and I've written letters, and they've all been met with. "Do not contact me again. I want nothing to do with you." Before this, my daughter and I were best friends. We talked every single day, 2 to 3 times. I saw her and her kids 2 to 3 times a week, and she lives 8 minutes away from me. She wants nothing to do with me, and I understand. I'm not angry. I was hurt at first, but I'm not angry. I had 35 years with this secret. She's only had a year and a half. I don't blame her, I blame me. I understand, but it's hurtful. I went down to that personal development course, and it saved my life. After that first one, I went to 3 more, all over the States. The first one was in Canada. The rest were in the States. I've taken 4 in person, anywhere from 3 days to 10. I've done 12 online personal development courses. I'm in 4 mastermind classes right now. I wrote a book called Cut the Anchor, which came out in December, all about my story. I've been on podcasts to explain my story. I wrote in the Ignite Humanity Joy book. I'm doing everything I can to better myself. to rid myself of the shame and blame and guilt that I carried for 35 years. I've been sick for 7 years, really sick for 2. And I saw every doctor you can imagine. Top gastrointestinal doctor in Canada. I've seen them all. And no one could figure out what was wrong. But I know. That stress was festering inside. That blame, shame, and guilt was festering inside of me. I wasn't living. I was slowly dying inside. But what it's taught me this whole year, and standing here today, we are not our worst mistake. I was 19 years old when I made this mistake. We've all made mistakes, but I was blaming myself daily and not living. I have forgiven myself. I've even forgiven myself for not telling her sooner. But it's been a journey. It's been a 1.5 year journey for sure. But what I learned over the last 1.5 years with the personal development courses I've been taking, I've learned quite a few tools, and I'd like to share them with you guys today. So one of them is a gratitude book. And I know a lot of people talk about gratitude books and kind of, some people are like, oh, poo-poo it. But it's so important. So even in my darkest days, I came up with one thing I was grateful for. Even if it was, I got out of bed today. I had a shower today. So I mess it up, but as far as grateful, even if you say the sun is shining, or I have hot water, or I have heat in my house, when we start looking at things differently and we're grateful for things, it changes our outlook. It changes how we view the world and how we view things. Because there's a lot of bad in the world. We don't need to look for it, it's there. Let's look for the positive. Let's look for the things that are great in this world, because there's a lot. So that's one tool. Another tool was celebrate your wins. We always look for the big wins, but what about the little wins that we have every single day? We have small wins. Celebrate those wins every day. And that's where it comes in. If maybe you don't even get out of bed and you do one day. Celebrate that. Maybe you're depressed and you don't want to shower, but you do one day. That's a win. Take that win. Take all of the wins. And the third one was we all have an inner child in us that is hurting and that is broken, and we need to heal that inner child. So I got a picture of myself when I was younger, and I printed it out, and I put it somewhere I could see. I also put it on my phone. And I would look at my inner child, and I would tell her, you are lovable, you are worthy, you are perfect just the way you are. And it helps heal your inner child. Does anybody else feel some of the things that I've spoken about today?
Yeah.
Life is hard. Life is hard. Now, I'd like to do a little exercise with you about limiting beliefs. So if you could just take out either the pad of paper that I provided and the pen, or maybe you have your own, and just take a pad of paper out, or a sheet of paper out. All right. So in a second, I'm gonna have everybody sign their name as many times as you possibly can. When I say go, don't start yet. So when I say go, you're just gonna sign your name, sign your name. Keep going until I tell you to stop. All right, ready, set, and go. Keep signing, keep signing, keep signing. as you're signing, I want you to be aware of what thoughts are coming up. Oh, I have a long name. It's gonna take me forever to do this. I have messy writing. Whatever your thoughts are, just think about those thoughts and keep going. Keep signing, keep signing, keep signing. For 10, 9, 8, 7. Keep thinking of those thoughts that are coming up. 3, 2, and stop. I'd like you to sit for a second and think of what thoughts were coming up. Maybe nothing, but what was coming up for you? All right, now I'd like everyone to add up however many times they wrote their sign, you signed your name. And then just tally it up and put it in a corner. Just wait till everyone's done. All right, just put your hands up. And when I call a number that you're, like I'll say 10 and more, keep your hand up, 20 and more, put your hand down once I get to your number. So everyone's hands up. Who had 10 or more? 15 or more? 20 or more? 25 or more? 30 or more? 35, 40, 45, 50, 55, 60, 65, 70, 80? Now, you're all looking around to see who had 80. What are the thoughts that are coming up? Are you thinking, oh, she must have had a shorter name than me? Or she might have just did a line. How did she get 80 and I only got 20? Are you guys having those thoughts?
Yeah. How did she do it?
Right? How'd she do it? How did I not get 80? How come I only got 20? And all I asked you to do was sign your name. And think about the thoughts that are coming up for us. We have limiting beliefs daily, and we don't even realize it. You might have a bunch of papers in your hand and you drop them. What do you say? Oh, I'm so clumsy. That's a limiting belief. You stub your toe. Oh, I'm such an idiot. How many times do we say these things daily? Hourly for some people. We need to change that. We need to look at the positives, not those negatives. Those negatives and those self-limiting beliefs can kill us. Like I just showed you, it almost killed me. Now I must have missed some parts because at this point my 5 minutes should be coming up.
It's okay, we're almost there.
No, how many minutes do I have left? 'Cause I can talk more.
Just a little bit.
Like what's a little bit?
7.5 minutes.
Okay, perfect, that's perfect. Would anybody like to share how they're feeling about the exercise that I did or anything that I said today? Would anyone like to come up or just stand where you are and share?
I just wanted to share, I'm very touched with your bravery and sharing your story because that is very deep and very personal. But there's many lessons to learn from that and just even things that I can take to help empower my own children and encouraging some things I want to hear. So thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing that. Is there anyone else that would like to share? Yes?
I'd like to say, Carrie, that you have so much courage. And I also am a mother who is very devoted to her children, my 5 children. And on Mother's Day, which was last Sunday, I heard absolutely nothing from any of them. And I haven't made it mean a single thing about myself anymore. You know? So it is possible to overcome, you know, the societal expectations of what it is to be a mom and, you know, the traditional ancestral stuff that's there, right?
Yeah.
It is possible to thrive and to, you know, to be aligned with the divine, and you're doing great.
Thank you.
I'm so proud of you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. And yes, so what I've learned over the last year and a half is we all carry blame, shame, and guilt of some kind. And I'm so proud that I have rid myself of all that. And like I said, I've forgiven my 19-year-old self for a decision made when really I was 19 when I was making that choice. And I did remember what I forgot, and I'm going to go through it now. It was about fear. And when I was, you know, fearful of coming here today, I thought to myself, what have I done in life, big moments, that I wasn't afraid? So like I said, I moved out of my parents' home at 18 and moved to a city where I only knew one person. That's it, I was 18. I had a baby at 20. At 28, 28, I was divorced twice by 28. I almost lost one of my boys when he was 7 months old. He almost died. He did die, or they revived him. At 29, I bought a frozen food business, and I knew nothing about business, nothing. In my 30s, I started my fitness business from the ground up. I navigated the loss of my sister to cancer not long ago. I built an app for my business last year, and I knew nothing about computers. I knew how to turn them on and off and copy and paste on Word. That's it. And I built an app for my business. So we need to step out of our comfort zone, because that is how we grow. We grow by doing things that are scary or that we're afraid. We don't learn anything by staying in our box. And I'd like to leave you with a quote. Embrace the journey of becoming your best self. It is the ultimate destination. I'd like to thank everyone for listening to me today, and I really hope that I shed some light on limiting beliefs. And I'd love it, we do have some extra time, so I'd love it if anyone wants to come up and share their story or just talk about mine. And I am so grateful that I had more than 3 people in the audience. I'm so grateful, and I'm so glad that I was able to share my story, and I'm really glad that I'm still alive to tell it. Thank you.